Today, ladies and gentlemen, we will be focusing on the BattleBit map Isle. And if you're here, you probably want to know one thing. How do I flank on the BattleBit map Isle? Well, I not only think I can provide you a method to do this, but I also think this flanking route will be incredibly fun to use in-game, as it is quite unorthodox in nature. So without further ado, let's jump right into the meat of this video. So the objective we will be focusing on today is just the C objective. It is almost impossible to miss on the map Isle, as it is this big freaking dome in the center of the map. I mean, there's not a structure even close to it in height. So unlike a lot of other flanking videos that I've done, it doesn't really matter what the situation is at sea. You just need to have enemies either inside the objective or right outside the objective. Basically, it doesn't matter whether your team holds the C objective or not. However, what is very similar to my other flanking videos is that we will of course be talking about verticality today. And if you want to learn more about what I mean by that idea, you can go check out some of my other videos that are hopefully either on my channel or attached to this video or something like that. But if you're lazy like me, and you just want me to tell you, basically what it means is that we're going to exploit the fact that you are much higher than the enemy and that they're just not really paying attention to you when you're flanking. Okay, for the setup of this method, I'm gonna have to admit something a little unfortunate. When I was first planning to make this video, BattleBit allowed you to play squad beacons near objectives. However, that is not the case anymore, and it is rather important that you're able to repeatedly spawn on top of the dome here at sea. Hence, to remedy this issue, I highly recommend that you find a squad that likes to snipe. Otherwise, this flank method will be really hard to replicate, because what you first want to do is safely get on top of the dome at the C objective. This can be done a couple of ways. You could of course take a helicopter to the top of the C dome, but you might have to convince someone to do that. You could grapple up one of the sides and then hop up one of the beveled edges of the dome. Or if you don't want to carry a grappling hook, you could probably prop some boxes up to get to those same beveled edges. I've never tried it before, so I'm not sure if it can work. And for some reason I didn't mention this, but with those bevel edged methods, you're going to want to hop up those edges. Just keep pressing the spacebar and you'll eventually climb up. Regardless of how you end up doing this, once you're on top of the C objective dome, you're going to want to wait for enemies to either get into the objective or get around the objective, and you want those enemies to get into firefights with your team. And I'm sure at this point you're asking yourself, how the heck are we going to flank literally on top of this massive dome in view of basically everybody? Well, there are two factors that make this method successful. The first factor is that a lot of players get sucked up into these attention-grabbing fights at sea that are usually very large and very chaotic. The second and wonderful factor is that with the right amount of touch and skill, you can get down from the sea dome almost instantaneously. See, while most players try to zigzag down the long sides of the dome as if they were skiing, what you can actually do is just run straight down the same beveled edges that you used to climb up the dome. This, coupled with secure spawn points on top of the dome, allows you to pump out these flanks like it is nothing. Hence, what I recommend at this point is a trial and error approach to this flank. Look at the map, see where you think enemies might be or might not be, and then repeatedly go down the dome looking for clusters of enemies or blind spots that enemies aren't looking at. Nevertheless, with each attempt you will both get better at this flank and be able to catch more enemies by surprise. And like always, I'm now going to provide you guys with some examples of my own to show you that this flank actually works. However, before I do that, I want to stress that this area is generally a very popular spot on the map. So you're going to have to constantly deal with snipers sniping at you and also helicopters trying to invade that area. Here in this first example, I utilized the flank to take out a large group by these boxes that are facing D. This flank went rather well because there was no one shooting me on the ridge from behind. This flank takes the same approach, except now I'm facing enemies that are closer to C. It's a little chaotic, but it works out.
I have no idea. Actually, I have no idea.
Now we're on the opposite side of the C objective, and we're going to be taking out enemies that are both outside the objective and in the objective. I really like this flank because of this little maneuvering I had to do around these mines. This next flank again targets enemies inside the objective. I just want to emphasize here that you really do gotta watch out for all the mines and claymores that people lay around. Here's one that really showcases the bobbing and weaving you have to do on your way down from the dome. You really do get a lot of attention when you're up there. And finally, I included this last one because it's a fun little trick shot on this guy.
Oh my god, I love you.
Well, that is one more flanking route that is in the books. I hope y'all really enjoyed this video, and I hope it really helps y'all out. If you want to see more content like this, please comment and like on this video and tell me what you want to see next. Otherwise, I just want to thank y'all so much for watching.